How's it going, everybody? It's time for another great Mr. Poestyle video. And this weekend, I went to the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo 2024. This is their fourth one. And this is the first year that I went alone. My son joined the Air Force earlier this year, so he wasn't able to make it back to go with me. But yeah, I just went there on my own, but did meet a couple of friends along the way, which is always a big plus. And just walked around and looked at some games and some toys, and went and played some arcade cabinets and some really cool pinball machines. So and they also have all the consoles that you could want. Didn't sit down this year and actually play a console like I normally do, but they were there and I filmed them. So yeah, it was a really good show. Really happy that I decided to go. I didn't buy my tickets in the summer like I normally do. I kept saying I wasn't going to go, and then about a month ago I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go. So I went ahead and bought my ticket for just today only. Well, as I'm recording this, Saturday, October 5th, 2024 only. And went there and had a good time. And again, didn't really take any money at all with me. I did end up hitting an ATM just to get a few goofy things, a few weird things. There was nothing really special that I was looking for, but we'll talk about that in the wrap-up. Okay, let's go take a look and see what I saw as I walked around, and just enjoy and skip ahead or stay tuned for the wrap-up, and I'll show you what I did end up getting. I got it sitting right here. I do. Pittsburgh Gaming Expo 2024. Let's take a look. So here we are, Monroeville Convention Center for the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo 2024. Let's take a look inside. When you first came in this year, off to the left, you had these vending machines. I don't know, little Japanese vending machines or something with little toys all through it. And people were running around and looking at stuff, and they're all happy, and they're trying to duck under my phone. But that's okay, buddy. You can walk through. That's what I'm recording. Of course, I spotted these. I had so many of these as a kid. Actually, my wife sold them at a yard sale in the early 2000s. And I had Iron Sheik back in the day, so I had to pull that one up. Junkyard Dog is in there. JYD. Grab them cakes. Oh, is that all you do? Remember that? I do. And then the first NES games that I come across. So I got to take a look at those too. Yeah, look at that. I almost picked it up just because of the goofy label on there, but there you go. Gorilla War. You'll see the actual arcade, I think, a few times in this video too. They had at least two of those arcades there. Akari Warriors was always my jam, though. There you go. $5 for that. Thought about getting that, and then I didn't end up getting that. I just love the unlicensed stuff. There we go. Unlicensed stuff. Love the cartridges. I already have all the NES games that I really want, so now I just look for weird things. And license is where it's at. And then you got your old toys. E.T., G.I. Joe. Yeah, some really cool stuff. There's actually a lot more that I didn't record, but old board games and stuff that I love, you know, or I remember as a kid or remember the commercials for. I just love seeing all this old stuff. There's a TI-99 4A. My buddy still has the one, I think, that he got from me like a year ago. The way I work and the way he works, and just hasn't worked that I've been able to make it over there to pick it up. There's some games for it. There's a Saturn buried. Buried Saturn. I already have a Saturn. So, and I have this. What were those called again? I have that. And almost a whole set of VHS tapes. I made a video series on it there a few years back. Tarot cards. Lord of the tarot cards. Who knew? I didn't know. Did you know? We used to have lots of these Star Wars records books, and these were both the same one. We had different ones when we were growing up. Loved that too. Really cool to see. Wish I had the extra cash. And here, I love this. Tutti effing fruity. I met him, Sid Haig, in that same building years ago. Got his autograph, got a picture with him. Rest in peace, Sid. Captain Spaulding. Another E.T. That's a little one. And glasses. We had a lot of these Star Wars glasses, if not all of them. Love the Mayor McCheese and the Hamburglar. Original, scary looking Hamburglar. Rebel. Some holiday ornaments, you know. You know. How about this coming up? Kiss. Right? Get the Mr. Potato Head Kiss. That's all you need. Paul Stanley version. Various games. Nothing that really jumped out. The not as good 007 game for the 64, right? Kung Fu. And wait till we go up above. Kung Fu. I did see a couple of Fester's Quests laying around. I've had that one since I was a kid too, though, so tough game. Tetris 2. Couple Rampages. TNC Surf Design. I have that and the sequel. Fun games. Load Runner. I liked to rent that one too when I was a kid. And out of nowhere, you got some Buck Rogers action, ColecoVision games, Congo, Bongo, and Burger Time, but I already have all those. Pickle Rick. Some more top shelf stuff. Planet of the Apes. Got another one over here. Look at this little Pac-Man pinball machine. Pretty cool. Not even built. Still in the box. I think, what was it, $400? Yeah, $400. Brand new, and it's rare. Got some Star Wars action going on over here. Got a Biker Scout. Yeah, some cosplay going on here. And John Riggs' booth was down the way there. There we got a singing Jaws like Bubba Bass or whatever the thing was called that would hang on your wall, but it's Jaws. Funny stuff. Xbox games. There's some NES. Don't need it. 2600 Commons. Combat Circus. Warlords. There's a Super Nintendo and a Genesis. If you didn't know already, various controllers, third party style. Well, there's some handhelds there that I always like to take a look at. My son's the one that collects them there, so I was talking to the woman there and said, yeah, I'm just looking for my son who's out in the Air Force now, out in Washington. Send him some pictures, send him some video, and see if he sees anything there. Atari instruction manuals, those are always cool to see. I have some of these catalogs and stuff already. Donkey Kong. Robotron for the 7800. Yeah, they just had a bunch of various instruction manuals. I found another place that had some other ones, Game Boy manuals and NES manuals. Didn't really get to go through them much. It was in a pretty crowded area of the expo. Wasn't going to wait in line to look at all those, but all your 2600 games. A 7800 sitting over there on top of the 5200 games. How dare they? No, that was the trackball, sorry. They do have a 7800 further down, but yeah, sitting on top of the 5200 games there, and all of our Atari games. A lot of these I have, so Some television games and ColecoVision games over off to the other side. But those are all common 5200 games I've already had in the collection for a while. I didn't need any of those. But Popeye, I have it. I have like 4 Popeyes for the 5200, maybe more. Just kept getting them in lots. There's your network games. Magic, Parker Brothers Spider-Man. They had Strawberry Shortcake there. I already have them. Strawberry Shortcake, of course. Popeye for the Intellivision, but I already have it. Nice gold label on there. There's one that I ended up getting. Blockade Runner, just like the cartridge there. I like it. Thought about getting that. I don't have Centipede by Atari Soft. Thought about it, you know, for the Intellivision, but I didn't end up getting it. A lot of Magic games. I came back later, a few of those were gone, but I have that one. Got Dracula. I definitely have Atlantis. That was one of the first Intellivision games I had to get. Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorites. Yeah, they have them. This guy also had like various overlays for sale too. A big stack of them. I didn't really go through them or anything though. Some Odyssey 2 games thrown in the mix. And most of these I already have as well, so. Now I do have one of these. Never bought a set. Bought one off of eBay. I hardly ever used the thing. Should have bought another just to have the pair, but there's the voice for the Intellivision just thrown in a plastic bag. I already have it too, so I got a boxed one. There's the Odyssey 2 and the voice and Atari 400 tape recorder, tape deck. People getting loud and mouthy in the background. Frogger. Some Atari 8-bit games, XE games. There's our module for 2600 games to be played on the ColecoVision, but I have that. There's a nice ColecoVision. Has an Atom controller in the mix. Got the power supply. There's a 7800. There's a Telstar, but it's not complete. I would have liked to have had it if it had the gun. But they did not. And they have some flashback systems and some portables. Pac-Man Fever album. Then I got to meet Brian from BD Retro Mods. What a nice guy he is. Finally got to meet him after being on the show, Bliss's show, with him a few times. Great guy. He's an awesome dude. Super Nintendo and 64, somebody's drink. NES's. Boxed NES games. There's one of the Double Dragon Battletoads that they made not so many years ago. Right there it is. Got a green cartridge for it. I remember when those came out. They had a few of them there, maybe 4 or so. More NES games. Some Switch games down below. I didn't even go through the Switch games. So. Yeah, just nothing really jumped out that I needed. Ones that I didn't have weren't really ones that I wanted. But I do end up getting that one later on for cheaper. From another place. I like those unlicensed games, even though they're all so bad. There's Game Genie. There you go, Gaming Road Warrior. I saw some for the Game Boy also. Famicom Mini there. N64. I have Spy vs. Spy. I love that game. I just like the way this one looked. And of course, you know, the name is hilarious too. But $56. Yeah. I probably should have, just for the heck of it, have it in the collection. I do like the cartridge on it. This was John Riggs' booth. He wasn't there when I went over this time. He had somebody else watching the booth for him. But he has that Bob's Burger. He later told me that that's actually just Burger Time. A bunch of Burger Times, and he changed the label. Now we're going to walk into the arcade. The arcade's always great here at Pittsburgh Gaming Expo, but I think they really went above and beyond this year. It's a lot of cool stuff. A few years ago, my son and I played both of these Mario tables. They were fun. And they had people in it all day. That was early, and later there were a lot of people around it. So we'll just take a look at all the pinball that they have here. If you see any that you like, yell it out. I can't hear you. I ended up playing that Terminator one later, but one of the flippers was halfway stuck the entire time. Somebody broke it. It's creeping on everybody here. Smash TV, great game. With a friend, once again. With a friend. Great twin stick game, though. Great setup. NBA Jam, of course. Off-road, of course. Cruising. Wasn't too many of them broken down this year yet. A few. Darkstalkers cabinet, that's cool. Love that game. There it is. There's that rotary controller Glenn just came out with that I have, so I got to build that for my arcade soon. For Guerrilla War and Akari Warriors, great rotating joystick. There was 2 Guerrilla Wars there, I believe. One was in another room. They had a little separate room where a band played, and they had some games along the side. Turbo. There's no way I could fit my fat cheeks in there to play Sega's Turbo. Later on I went by and a little kid was in there playing. He was the perfect size for it. His dad was watching him play. And of course, Turtles has a million people around it. Simpsons. Always. There's either a million people around those all the time or else they're broken. Like X-Men. Well, not the big X-Men, but there was an X-Men here that was out of order, so... Father and son shooting them up. People naturally feel like they got to kind of move if they see a camera come through, but you don't have to move. It's okay. Terminator 2, Revolution X, RoboCop, some Mortal Kombat 4. More pinball. Godzilla, I played that one. My local pizza shop right down the road has that, but I don't believe he has the topper on it like that. I don't think so. The Munsters. Black Knight. Awesome topper. I was waiting for him to move his head again. There it is. There he goes. Primus. There's the fishtails. Right next to Attack of Mars. Got to get a close-up of everybody's favorite fishtails. See a Twilight Zone over there. Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden, I'm back to fishtails again. Let's see that topper on top. Actually, I was going to get a picture. I wanted to get a picture while I was recording of it for the guys. There's a Stranger Things cabinet like G. Parker has. A cool looking topper on there. Never saw this one before. A little cell phone in it. Dialed in. Got some ding ding. Ding ding tables. Back to more arcade games. There's the Out of Order X-Men. Ms. Pac-Man. They had a Ms. Pac-Man competition going on later on today. I didn't join. I had a lot of them. Now, I did play this. Capless. Chaos was the first one to point this game out to me, so I put it on my iArcade. So I did play that later. Never saw a gapless cabinet out in the wild, so. Asteroids was out of order. Mr. Do. Love Mr. Do. Right next to Dig Dug. Which came first, the Dig Dug or the Do? Guys yakking and cracking in the alley. Joust. Galaga. Crystal Castle. Space Invaders is cool. I like the holographic background in that. Ooh, Puffy. Burger Time. One of my favorites. Deluxe Space Invaders. Somebody else liked Burger Time. They were yelling it out there. There's Elvira. There's Elvira. I think that was... they might have had one in the competition alley. The only one that was sitting out here. And I definitely played that later. I came back to it. Sorry, I just had to record all angles of Elvira. Look at that. Elvira. And they had these cool things up on top. We'll look at some more pinball, shall we? Avatar. Ultraman. The Jetsons. I should have come back and played this one. I didn't think about that. I didn't get back to play this one. We have that on FX. Recognize that. WrestleMania. Spider-Man, Venom. There we go. Over there is Batman. Well, I got to play that one finally. A little later in the day. Everybody that walked past would just start staring at that machine. You get little lines for it. This is a side that was roped off, I think, for competition. And I don't know if they just had the ones turned on that had the tournaments going on for them at the time. There was a Jaws, but it wasn't lit up while I was there. I think that's what it was. They only had the ones turned on that they were doing the tournaments for. And these are just some snapshots I took of each of them while I was recording. Very nice. Yeah, that Batman machine looks great. Love that table. And actually, that's the same building that I saw Adam Westenberg wore in years ago for Steel City Con. And this is a room where there was a band playing, and they just had various cabinets along the walls. There was a sit-down burger time there. Unfortunately, a man and woman were sitting at it as if it was a table, and it wasn't. There were tons of chairs there in between to watch the band and eat your food if you got your food. And those two decided they were going to just sit at the sit-down burger time, so I didn't record it. Yeah, they weren't playing it. Commando! Classic game. Love that. POW. Always take the time for some POW. W. Shinobi. Zach's on. Zach's off. And this was the panel. John Riggs was talking to Mark Bustler from Classic Game Room. I didn't record it. I did see Game Closet was recording the whole thing. I just took a few pictures. And actually, when I got there, the room wasn't quite... didn't have too many people. And there's Game Closet right there. He was in the front row, so I was a few rows back from him. And then this part is with... all the cool little setups, little tiny TVs they have, and there's a Jaguar, all the different consoles. I always like to look at them. Usually my son and I would be playing a bunch of them, but this year I just kind of recorded them. I didn't sit down to play any of those. I spent more time with the arcades and pinball this year. But there were tons and tons and tons of them. I love these little monitors, these little TVs. There's some guy that brings those in each year, those little red TVs. I think they were Japanese. I looked them up last year. I can't remember. I know the ones I did see were expensive, so. I recognize that. On PS4 Pro, they were playing some FX pinball. FX. There's some Vectrex. We'll get back around to those. They had some candy cabs here, which was really cool. They may have had some last year, I don't know, but not near this many. So I don't know who brought those in for the weekend, but there's one of your dance, slap 'em and jam 'em machines or whatever they're called. But yeah, lots of candy cabs. I know a lot of people love the looks of those. I just always got the kind of just, I don't know, plastic. Right? No food or drinks. If you'd be spilling on these consoles, that'd make the owners very angry. But it was pretty jam-packed. But it's always great to see kids playing old systems and old consoles. There's a great game. Super Nintendos, N64s. Yeah, I know. Here we go. Look at that. Here, Retron 77 and an Atari VCS. That was kind of surprising to me. I don't believe I remember them having those there before. Jaguar. Vectrex. Wait till you see the other Vectrex towards the end of this. Somebody built a whole full-size arcade cabinet that's Vectrex. Crazy. Got all the Vectrex games on it. It's really cool. You'll see. You'll see. It's coming up. I did see one guy playing Typing of the Dead, and his fingers were going like crazy. So that was cool that they had that set up too. Someone left Castlevania running there. Atari 5200 action. Robotron. The 5200. The 7800 going. Dark Chambers. Sewer Shark 3DO. A lot of variety. And there he is. He was typing like crazy at one point. I don't know if I got that all filmed or not, but just so many. And then they had some tournaments going off. The sides of the room, stuff going. We got some Guitar Hero or something, Rock Bandish, I don't know. Some competition going there. The projector. Some PC gaming going on. Here we go. Here's the Vectrex cabinet somebody built. And it has a cool scrolling thing to put the overlays on top of it. So you pick your game, and then you got this spinner type thing. You spin up the right overlay for it. And the guy explained it a little bit to me. He was showing it. He had to turn it back on. Somebody had turned it off, he said, for some reason. It wasn't supposed to be. They had their game list there. And they built the whole cabinet around it there. Got a marquee. And he's turning it on there for me, and he's showing me. You can just, yeah, I told him it was really cool. You can do that. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a push button overlays, up or down, yeah. See, it's actually moving if you can see it there. I'm changing the overlays. They're pushing the up and down buttons. And here they had one of the Sears Atari centers, refurbished, redone. This is your store kiosk, store display. That worked. It worked. Great shape, great job redoing it. You know, I don't know if they found it in the greatest shape or if they made it look better, but really neat that they had that there. Awesome, awesome item to have. Be gentle with me, I'm old. That's what she said. There's my buddy I used to work with, Josh. It was great to get to see him again down there. Hadn't seen him for a while. We messaged quite a bit, but and there's when I met Mark from Classic Game Room. Great guy. Got to see him at his booth before he went to play some games. And here's my badge, and that's the end of it. That is Pittsburgh Gaming Expo 2024. So there you have it. That was the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo 2024, that was October 5th, the Saturday. This was the first year that they did 3 days. So they did the 4th, the 5th. They're doing Sunday, the 6th. By the time you see this, it'll probably all be done and over by the time I get this edited. But really great. It really just grew and grew. It was a lot huger this year. I had to park a lot further away this year than I did the other years that I went. So, but not a bad thing. I could use a walk after not doing anything for 7 months, being off, you know. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I loved the pinball. Got into that so much more in the last few years thanks to the show and Off Grid and Greg, you know, getting me into that stuff a lot more. So now I keep an eye out for that stuff. It used to be I would mostly just gravitate towards the arcade cabinets, and this year was more about the pinball for me. I didn't have anybody to record me playing this year, so but yeah, it was really cool to meet Brian finally from BD Retro Mods. I've been on Bliss's show with him, I don't know, a good 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and finally meet him face to face. The guy is super cool. The guy is super nice, and just you should go and check out his controllers that he makes. He wasn't there this year for controllers. He was invited to go there for today, and just as a guest to walk around and look at some stuff there. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be there. He might be vending there next year. Hopefully he is. I would love to just go up to his booth and buy everything off of him. Hopefully things are better next year and I won't have any time off. I'll just save up that money for the next one, because like I said, I didn't save any money this year for this con. I didn't think I was going, but for me it's my only con to go to. I'm not traveling all over. Monroeville is where the Gaming Expo is, and it is only 23 miles from my house to there, and so you know, that's really simple and easy and make a nice day out of it. And it's right across the road from the famous Monroeville Mall, famous for Dawn of the Dead, 1978, I believe, George Romero. That mall is still there. That's still the mall that my wife and daughter go to just about every weekend, just to window shop and walk around and have fun. And so yeah, that was the mall that we got a lot of video games from growing up. Whenever we were teenagers, we went there and just kind of hung out and would go to electronic games and buy all kinds of stuff, Babbage's, and yeah. And still, whenever my son was here at home, we would go down there and we would go watch a movie at the Monroeville Mall, or we would hit up GameStop. Used to be a great retro game store in that mall that unfortunately after COVID went under. Loved that place, Cash and Culture. And they also, those guys made Nintendo games their own. So Haunted Halloween 86 and Haunted Halloween, was it 85? There was 2 of them. But and you know, that mall now does have a little museum, the Living Dead Museum, and that's going to be coming up in an upcoming video, because I went ahead and stopped over and paid the admission, and I walked through the Living Dead Museum. George Romero, they have a bust of him in the mall and a little plaque on it, and then you can go up the escalator, and they have pieces of the sets from different movies, not just Dawn of the Dead, but other movies too inside there, and costumes and things like that, props, really cool stuff, autographs and stuff. That'll be in an upcoming video. But yeah, I got to meet Brian, like I said. John Riggs was there again. I did talk to him a little bit. Didn't get any of that on camera this year with John Riggs, but I bought a game from him, one of the games that he made. And I sat in on the panel for Mark Bussler from Classic Game Room. Just absolutely love his channel. I think everybody does. He's the longest going gaming YouTube channel from way back when. So I sat in on his panel where John Riggs was actually kind of the host, and asking Mark the questions. And then I got to finally meet Mark after all that. I know he wanted to go play some pinball. He was excited about that, so I know he wasn't going to be at his booth for long. So I went over there, and luckily at that moment he was putting all of his Blu-rays and stuff away. So I think he was doing that so he could go play, and I just had to walk over, and I was just kind of like, he had no product on the table except for a book, and he was already getting ready to pull that back. So I was just like, hey, love your channel, and just think it's great that I get to meet you finally, and that you're a Yinzer. I know someone who grew up in the Pittsburgh area like me. Actually, he lives really close to my hometown. So it was really cool to finally get to meet him after all these years of watching his great videos and seeing his panel. That was cool. So as for pickups, like I said, I took no money with me, which was probably a mistake because then I had to hit up the ATM and get the surcharge and everything that they had right there. But just some goofy stuff I picked up this year. Like I said, I'm not looking for any holy grails. I definitely wasn't looking for any consoles this year or anything like that. And so to start with, and it's all shiny, but I got Choo Choo Mimic, and that's John Riggs' new game. I probably would have bought it in the box, but that was $20 more. I'm on a budget. So John Riggs' new game, Choo Choo Mimic, was there. I bought that for my NES. And now we get into some goofy stuff. Like I said, there's no real NES cartridges that I need to have anymore. I got a ton of them. Same goes with Atari 2600. And all of the games for those systems that I loved as a kid, I already own. So everything else was just collecting. I have a bunch of 2600 and NES games. So I like to look for these goofy, unlicensed games. And these ones were running on the cheap anyway. So they might be terrible games, but I just always like these little cartridges here. You got B-52 by Comerica. Shiny cart. And then they have the position, put your switch into position to get the cart to work because, you know, it wasn't officially licensed. And then I got Pyramid. And if you look the whole way through my video, you'll see that I picked one up I was looking at one booth, and it was like $14, $13.90 something or other for this. And I just looked at it real quick and put it back. And then I went to another place, and they had this one here. I think it was like $10. So I grabbed that. So there you go. There's my NES games that I got. Now I did pick up an Atari 2600 game, and everybody's going to laugh at this. But this vendor was on the same corner, same area last year. And I remember they had this same game sitting there in the same position in the little racks of games they had. And I just felt bad for it. I know everybody says it's terrible. I don't even know if I've ever played the ROM to this. I may have. I don't remember doing that. Everyone says it's terrible. But they all said that about E.T. Maybe they're wrong because I like E.T. So maybe Sneak and Peek is a great game. Maybe it's the best game ever for the 2600. No, probably not. But this label is in fantastic condition. Probably because nobody ever played it after, well, they played it once and chucked it back in the old Converse, the pony shoebox there on the floor where they kept their games. So a 2600 game, like everything else that I saw there for 2600, I had for the most part. And that was a $2 game, I think. So it might have been $3. And then finally for my Intellivision. And I gotta admit, I only got it just because I love something that looks different. And like, what was it? Sewer Sam, Squish'ems, you know, they had the red cartridges and stuff. So we got Blockade Runner. And there was another game that I was originally going to get. I do this every year. I walked in and I saw this game. It was a game of like 4 games in one, unlicensed NES game. And I said, I'll come back to that. Went and played all the arcades, sat in on the panel for Classic Game Room, came back through all the way back to the front, and that game was gone. I do it every year. And it was only like a $5 game, but just another goofy, unlicensed NES game that I like the shell for, the cartridge for, would look cool in the collection. But yeah, I got Blockade Runner for the Intellivision. So, like the cart, again, another one, and this was the same guy that had Sneak and Peek. Great label for it. So that's what it was. That's what I got. Not much. But again, I went in there with the intention of not buying anything. You're probably saying I probably shouldn't have bought anything after seeing that. But come on, they look cool. I think they look cool. Yeah, and John Riggs. And again, I had another little conversation with him at his table. Just a really cool guy. Always, you know, what you see is what you get with John from his videos. Just a kind, really nice person. So that's it. And I also saw my buddy Josh that I worked with for years at the steel mill down the street here until they closed it. And he ended up, actually before they closed it, he bid to another one across the river, same company. And I didn't bid then. So when they closed this one, I ended up getting sent to another of our mills an hour away. So now I never get to see Josh. And we met back in the day just based on gaming. I had already been at the mill for a good maybe 3 years. And then he came in and he put him on the line as my helper. And I think somewhere around lunchtime or something, I think I saw him reading the Game Informer. And that started it all. I'm like, oh, you're into gaming. He's like, am I into games? Well, yeah, he had a Jaguar and everything, and a great collection, huge collection, old and new, like me, and we just hit it off immediately. So we text and message and do everything like that, but we hadn't seen each other face to face in quite a while. He and his wife were there, got to see him again, and that was just great. Another great convention, and like I said, got to see some people there that I hope to see. Didn't get to talk to Dr. Scott, Game Closet. He was busy doing a lot of the live stream type stuff. I saw him in at the panel, but he was recording Classic Game Room's panel, so I didn't want to disturb him then. And by the time I came back around again, I didn't see him before I left. So you know, it always comes down to I start not feeling well, the lightheadedness and stuff. So I was like, it's time to go. Great expo. Pittsburgh Gaming Expo, the choice in arcade cabinets there and the pinball tables, just a great mix of things. And it's just a fabulous thing. You would love it. The arcade they have set up there is getting better every year. The guests they have are getting better every year. So check it out next year if you didn't get to now. It's getting bigger, people. It went to 3 days finally, so it's getting there. The place was absolutely packed this year, and that wasn't the case in other years. So, all right, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you spy anything real quick there in my video when I was going through? Was there something that you would have picked up? I picked up the garbage. So, but yeah, stay tuned. Coming soon is going to be my video of the Living Dead Museum in Monroeville, Pennsylvania at the Monroeville Mall. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Thank you for joining me for another great Mr. Poestyle video, and I hope to see you on the next one. Oh, Nacho. Come here, Nacho. No biting. No bite. Ooh! No biting! Oh, Nacho, stop!